The year was 2178. Humanity, having reached for the stars, finally encountered another spacefaring race, the Volari. Elegant and wise, the Volari, with their crystalline ships and ethereal music, seemed to embody peace itself. First contact was made in the Proxima Centauri system, a shared cradle of civilization. Both species, filled with hope and trepidation, exchanged knowledge and culture. An era of unprecedented collaboration began, pushing the boundaries of scientific understanding and artistic expression. This newfound harmony, however, was not destined to last. A cosmic anomaly, unseen and unheard of in recorded history, emerged on the edges of the Milky Way. The Silent Nova, as it was ominously dubbed, devoured everything in its path, leaving behind an expanding void devoid of light and sound. Stars within its reach simply winked out of existence, their energy seemingly erased from the fabric of space-time. The initial shock gave way to panic. The Silent Nova was not just an astronomical phenomenon, it was an existential threat. The Volari, with their deep understanding of the cosmos, revealed the devastating truth. The Silent Nova was expanding, and it was only a matter of time before it engulfed the entire galaxy, leaving nothing but silence in its wake. Amidst the growing cosmic dread, a young woman named Yumi Asakura found herself haunted by strange and vivid dreams. Living in a lunar colony far from the beauty of a star-filled sky, 17-year-old Yume sought solace in her music. She played the violin, her mournful melodies echoing her own internal struggles. She felt deeply, a trait often mistaken for weakness. Yume's dreams, however, were becoming increasingly unsettling. She saw flashes of blinding light, heard whispers in languages she couldn't understand, but most disturbingly, she felt an overwhelming sense of loss. A sorrow so profound it felt like her own heart was breaking. It was as if the dying stars were crying out, their final moments echoing in her mind. Then the inevitable happened. The Silent Nova reached the lunar surface. The artificial sun flickered and died. Panic ensued, but Yuma felt strangely detached, a strange calm settling over her. She heard a chorus of whispers, a symphony of dying stars, and then silence. She blacked out, the last sensation a feeling of falling into the abyss. When Yuma awoke, she was in a sterile white room, hooked to machines she didn't recognize. She was alive, but the world outside was gone. The lunar colony, along with most of the moon, had been consumed by the Silent Nova. She was one of the few survivors, rescued by a mysterious organization known only as Project Requiem. But her survival came at a price. She could now hear the dying cries of stars, their last memories echoing in her mind. Project Requiem, Yuma soon learned, was an international collaboration, formed in the wake of the Silent Nova's devastating arrival. Its goal to combat the anomaly and ensure humanity's survival. But this was no ordinary task force. It comprised individuals like Yuma, survivors who had been touched by the Silent Nova and emerged with unique, almost supernatural abilities. They called themselves the Nova Sensitives. There was Kenji, a pilot who could now see the echoes of gravitational waves, predicting the Silent Nova's expansion with terrifying accuracy. Aisha, a scientist, could now interface with any technology, her mind a conduit for the lost echoes of stellar energy. And then there was Yumi, the girl who could hear the dying whispers of stars, each one a story, a memory, a plea for understanding. The Nova Sensitives were brought together not just for their abilities, but for their shared experience, the trauma of survival etched into their very being. They were brought together to fight, to unravel the mysteries of the Silent Nova, but also to heal, to find solace in their shared burden. They were a team, bound by destiny and united against an unimaginable threat. As Yume trained alongside her fellow Nova Sensitives, she began to understand the true nature of her powers. The whispers she heard weren't just random noise. They were memories, emotions, the very essence of a star's life and death. And within these whispers, she began to piece together a horrifying truth about the Silent Nova. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a weapon, a tool of unimaginable destruction. The revelation sent shockwaves through Project Requiem. The silent nova wasn't a force of nature, but a creation, and a horrifying question arose: who could build such a weapon and why? The answer, when it came, was even more disturbing. The Volari, the seemingly peaceful aliens, were behind it all. They had engineered the silent nova not to destroy but to control, to reshape the galaxy according to their own enigmatic purpose. Yuma was faced with an impossible choice: side with humanity and fight against the Volari, the very beings who had shown them the stars, or try to understand the reasons behind their actions, risking the very survival of her species. The fate of the galaxy, it seemed, rested on the shoulders of a 17-year-old girl who could hear the dying whispers of stars. With a heavy heart but a resolute spirit, Yuma made her choice. She would fight, not just for humanity, but for the memory of the stars, for the countless voices she heard echoing in the silence. Her music, once a source of solace, became a weapon, a conduit for the energy of the dying stars, a symphony of hope against the encroaching darkness. The battle for the soul of the galaxy had begun, and at its heart stood Yume Asakura, the girl who dared to listen to the whispers of the cosmos.